we're going to look at this morning is the word often translated as destroyed. So destroyed comes from the root concept of loosing in combination with the preposition expressing down, against, or according to. The adding of the preposition modifies the meaning of loose to express total releasing, thus destruction or to destroy. Christ did not come to destroy the law and the prophets. His purpose was not to modify, change, or release the law, but to fulfill it and the prophecies given to Israel. We see that over in Matthew chapter 5 and verse 17. Do not think that I came to destroy the law or the prophets. I did not come to destroy, but to fulfill. Christ prophesied about the temple, stating it would be destroyed so that no stone would be left upon another. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 2 is where he references that. These words were later twisted and used against Christ as though he was going to destroy the temple. So in Matthew 24:2 it says, and Jesus said to them, do you not see all these things? Assuredly, I say to you, not one stone shall be left here upon another. They shall all be thrown down. Of course, your word thrown down there is your concept of destroyed. Now the chief priests and elders and all the council sought false testimony against Jesus to put him to death, but found none. Even many false witnesses came forward. They found none, no good evidence. But at last, two false witnesses came forward and said, this fellow said, I am able to destroy the temple of God and to build it in 3 days. In Matthew chapter 27 and verse 39 through 40, it states, then two robbers were crucified with him, one on the right and the other on the left. And those who passed by blasphemed him, wagging their heads and saying, you who destroy the temple and build it in 3 days, save yourself. If you are the Son of God, come down from the cross. Our word cataluo also has a secondary meaning. It can express lodging, which is quite interesting because you wouldn't think the word destroy would actually express lodging until you really understand what the word actually means. So thousands came to hear Christ speak during his ministry in Israel. As the day wore away, the disciples came to Jesus and asked him to send away the multitude so they could go into the surrounding towns and country to find lodging. Luke chapter 9 and verse 12 talks about that. When Christ went to the house of Zacchaeus, who was a chief tax collector and thus considered to be a sinner in the eyes of the Jews, that is, the religious leaders, the Jews spoke against Jesus. The Jews complained about Jesus going to lodge with a man who was a sinner in their eyes. Both of these instances help us understand a little bit better the concept behind destroy and what it's actually conveying to us. For it holds within its meaning the concept of resting from a journey. So in Luke chapter 9 and verse 12, it says, when the day began to wear away, the 12 came and said to him, send the multitude away, that they may go into the surrounding towns and country and lodge and get provisions, for we are all in the desert place here. Luke 19:5 states, but when they saw it, they all complained, saying, he has gone in to be a guest, and that's your word actually here, to lodge, with a man who is a sinner. Destroy may also convey bringing to nothing. During the time of the church in Jerusalem, the leaders of Israel were displeased that they proclaimed Jesus had been raised from the dead. Because if the people actually understood this, the leaders would have been held responsible for Christ's death. During the council's decision and their discussion concerning this and what they were actually going to do with these men, Gamaliel cautioned them, if this is a work of men that they are actually performing here, he said, then it will come to nothing. It will be destroyed. However, if this is not from God, excuse me, let me try that one again. If this work is of men that they perform, then it will come to nothing. However, if this is from God, they can't destroy it, no matter what they do. And of course, he's talking to the leaders here of Israel. Paul warns us of the church not to seek to destroy, that is, render loose or ultimately releasing the works of God for the sake of food in Romans chapter 14, verse 20. We are not to dispute over the mannerisms in which each person determines to honor God. If we have faith, we are to have faith unto ourselves. We are to live out our faith to God, not to men. Do not destroy the works of God for the sake of food. All things indeed are pure, but it is wrong for the man who eats with offense. When our earthly tent is destroyed, we have a house built from God, not made of hands, but eternal in the heavens. 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 1. For we know that if our earthly house, this tent, is destroyed, we have a building from God, a house not made with hands, eternal in the heavens. As Paul is explaining to the saints in Galatia that his gospel did not originate from men, but by revelation from Christ, he deals with the false brethren from Jerusalem who brought in a different gospel. Even the apostle Peter displayed this hypocrisy, fearing the Jews who came from James. Galatians chapter 2, verses 11 and 12, we see that. Since the Jews who are now Christians know that justification is not out from the law, if they build again the things that were destroyed, they become transgressors. For if I build again those things which I destroyed, loosed or released, I make myself a transgressor. Although the English word destroy may express different degrees of destruction, catalύω conveys loosing concept or releasing. When you are done with a day's journey and the lodge for the night, you have been fully released from that day's traveling. Although more traveling may happen, even over the same road, the one you are released from will actually never occur again. Thus, when this concept of destroyed is used, it's really expressing to render loosed or to fully release it.